Hi there, I'm Melissa Nielsen, and welcome to our weekly video. Listen, I'm going to do something controversial today. You know me, if you've been following me for a while, you're like, oh no, what's she going to do now? Listen, I'm going to debunk this word of the year thing. And I'm going to say that in a very loving way because, listen, I do a word of the year. I do a word of the year. Sometimes I pick 2 words of the year. The reason why I want to debunk it is, what are you doing with it the rest of the year? Like, are you being conscious of that word? And are you being conscious of that energy? I watched a lot of people, as 2020 ended, talk about how awful 2020 was. Yeah, whatever. I'm done with that. Because it wasn't awful. There were awful moments, but the entire year wasn't awful. There were some pretty amazing things that happened in 2020. There were some awful things that happened in 2020, but it's like when somebody says, oh, I had the worst day. No, you had about probably 5-10 minutes of it that was awful. And then you let it color the other 23 hours and 40 minutes. So I want you to think about this. This is about being conscious. Living consciously sometimes hurts a little bit. But it's meant for our growth, right? Like if we are choosing to be conscious, then we're choosing to grow and we're choosing to sort of step forward. So I'm just going to encourage you that if you have chosen a word for the year, then make sure that you revisit that every day, every week, every month, and that you know why you picked that word. You know why you are choosing it. So last year, one of the 2 words I picked was refine. And we did a lot of refining business-wise. I did a lot of refining in my personal rhythm. I did a lot of refining in sort of how often I connect, and my meditation. Refining was everywhere. It was ever present. And it was something I sort of looked back on more than once. But what's funny is, even though I was doing that, it was not the only, it's not my only word. My other word was focus. And very early on in 2020, right around the time that everything started going crazy, the image came to me, the thought came to me in my meditation: focus equals freedom. And I know I've talked about that before, but focusing equals freedom in your life. So whether it be focusing on your children's lessons so that you have freedom then when you sit down to do them, you're not like running around crazy trying to get them together. Focusing on your finances so that you have the freedom to do what you want. Focusing on your relationships so that they, you have the love in the relationships that you want, so that you can then, have the comfort and the freedom to not be in conflict. Focusing on so many things. In our case, it was like so much of focusing on what we needed to do business-wise so that we had the freedom to then leave California, start a new life in Arizona, all of the things that we've been able to accomplish from understanding that focus piece. So I'm just going to tell you, if you're picking a word for the year, don't let it be empty platitude. You picked it because you are choosing to be conscious, right? So what are you going to do with it? I want you to tell me down in the comments. What are you doing with your word for the year? How are you implementing that word in everything that you do, thought, word, and deed, this year? How are you going to revisit it every week, every day? So I'll share mine. It's already in the front of my planner, and it has multiple meanings. So, and it's probably going to be backwards. It says unstoppable. Unstoppable. Now, that's not because Melissa has a giant ego. I don't think anybody can stop me. It's not like that. It's that I have these goals for my life and for our business. And, I want to have unstoppable customer support. I want to have unstoppable, help for people who need it. Unstoppable drive for what we see needs to happen in the world, and how we can be part of that. Unstoppable energy, That's what I want. Here I am, 47 years old. Menopause is trying to wrangle me, and I'm telling it to just take a hike because I'm not ready. Not ready to slow down. Ready for other things, but not ready to slow down. So I want you to think about your word for the year, and I want you to tell me down in the comments, what are you going to do with it? If you've chosen a word for the year, how are you going to implement it? How are you going to utilize that so it does not become empty platitude? Like when March comes around, are you going to still be like thinking about it? Are you still going to be using it? Are you, if your word for the year is healing, what are you doing every day to heal? If your word for the year is peace, what are you doing every day to bring peace into your life or to bring peace to somebody else's life? What are you doing every day? Like, how are you using it? If you're refining, if your word is refine, what are you doing every day to refine? What does it mean to you? So I want to know. I want to know if it's business, if it's personal. I want to know. Tell me about it. I want to hear. I want to hear about it. We do a lot of business coaching as well as homeschool coaching. And so if it's business stuff, tell me about it. I want to know. All right. Have a good week.